So good morning, welcome back to our 5 acre farm. This morning, North Idaho is just reminding us that winter is not over yet. This was a surprise to me. I didn't realize we were going to get an accumulation of snow this morning. The chickens are here underneath the lean-to, keeping out of the snow. He's always so loud. Yeah, so I'm sure it's probably predicting the weather. I just didn't pay attention to the weather, I guess. So I'm glad I got everything done that I needed to. I actually did all my work at the beginning of this week. Today's Saturday. I knew it was going to be a rainy week and some snow mixture, so I came out Monday and Tuesday and did all my work that I needed to get done outside. And on my last video, I put all that hay inside the shed. So I'm glad I actually did that. I'm glad I did the responsible thing and took care of that. So, I mean, I don't mind working out here in the snow. I love the snow, but it just makes things a little bit more difficult. But I don't think we're gonna get that much. What are you doing? What are you doing, baby? All by your lonesome. Go with your friends. They're undercover. They're undercover in the lean-to. You lost? They're right there. Go hang out with them. So once again, I've shown in my videos over and over and over, chickens don't necessarily really mind the weather, you know? And I don't even have any hay on the ground over there. So, and this one's following me because I haven't given them their scratch yet this morning. So that's why they're waiting for their scratch. But everyone thinks they need to baby their chickens. Chickens, you know, obviously you need to help your animals. Don't get me wrong. You need to help them through the weather. Because you know what the weather is capable of doing. But, you know, they also have some pretty good natural instincts, all animals. They'll do what they need to do. You know, and if the snow's real deep, they won't come out. If it's pouring rain, they won't come out. But if it's raining, my flock comes out in the rain, which I'm surprised because I've had a flock in the past that if it was sprinkling, they didn't come out from undercover. But these ones come out. I guess Idaho chickens are just tougher. So, but also remember, if you are, you know, if you're thinking about moving to Idaho or North Idaho specifically, we get a lot of Californians that move up here, you know, and we're one of them. We're one family of them. I didn't grow up in California, but I moved here from California. And so a lot of people come up here. Luckily for myself and my wife, I was born and raised in Boston, and my wife lived with me in Boston for 6 or 7 years. So she knew what she was in for, and I knew what I was in for. And frankly, this winter has been very mild. I don't know if that's normal for North Idaho or not, but compared to the New England winters that I remember, this has been nothing. I've been like, wow, that's it? This is all you got? So I don't know. This might be a very mild winter for Idaho. But it's not that big a deal to me. But like I said, a lot of people come up here from California and they have really no idea what they're in for. They think they know, but just like anything in life, you don't know until you know. So a lot of people come up here, spend one winter and realize this is not for me, and they'll move away, move back down to like Arizona. So if you're thinking about moving up here, you really need to come up here and spend some time in the winters. We came up and spent 2 weeks each winter. And both those winters, the last 2 winters, not this winter, but the 2 previous winters, were record-setting snowfall. So we really got a taste. One winter we came up, it was 15 or 16, 15 every single day we were here. Never got above. And we got, I think that winter we got 3 feet of snow in 1 week. Or I'm sorry, in the 2 weeks that we were here. 3 feet of snow. We were buried in snow, freezing cold. So we knew what we were in for. It was good. Then the next winter we come up, it was a lot of snow, another 2, I don't remember exactly, another 2 or 3 feet there. No, not 3. Probably 1 or 2 feet during the 2 weeks we were here. And but it was -10 one day, and then it got up to like in the low to mid 30s the rest of the time, and I was wearing just a hoodie and a t-shirt the whole time. And I was like, it's not bad. So, but just understand that you think you think you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna be ready for the cold. You think you know until you come up and experience it. So, wherever you're choosing to move to, if you are choosing to move, I know a lot of people in California are fleeing that state for good cause. The more I hear about California, holy smokes, I can't believe anyone lives there. Sorry, no offense to Californians, but but anyways, the more if you're deciding to move from one state to another, you really need to check it out. One summer we visited all 8, however many, quote unquote Western states there are. We spent time in obviously California, Northern California, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Washington, Oregon, Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. I think that's about it. So one summer we spent time in all those states. Last fall we went back to New England. We spent a little bit of time in Boston. I already knew that I didn't want to live in the city. We spent a lot of time in New Hampshire. We went all over New Hampshire. We went to Vermont. We went to Maine. So we really, really did our research before we moved. So we knew. I mean, we knew that the feeling, and you just get a feeling because, for example, we thought for sure we wanted to go to Colorado. We're like, yeah, Colorado is it. Let's move there. We went there. We spent 2 weeks. And it's beautiful, and there's a lot of great things about Colorado. But for us, we were just like, you know what? And we kept saying the same thing over and over, my wife and I. It's beautiful, but I just don't get that feeling here, And then the same thing going back to New Hampshire. We thought for certain we were going to move to New Hampshire at that point because prices in home prices here in Idaho were just way too much. So we thought for certain that we were going to move to New Hampshire. I mean, we were all set. And then we got there, and we're like, both of us were like, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. I just didn't get that feeling. And I had said at the time, and I still believe, if I had never been to Idaho, I probably would have moved back to New Hampshire. But since I had come to Idaho, I was like, no, this is it. We just had that feeling here. As soon as we got here, literally, the moment we stepped foot in Idaho, we drove across the border from Washington. We went into Coeur d'Alene, got out, walked down to the lake, and immediately, like, this is it. This is where we want to be. So do your research, do your homework, find out what's important to you, home prices, jobs, healthcare, the local economy. For me, quality of life, scenery. I know I wanted to be in the mountains. Also, crime stats. Crime was huge for me, coming out of a place like Southern California, where crime is absolutely rampant. I mean, we lived in what was voted the 3rd safest city in America several years in a row, and it was one of the nicest cities in Southern California. And I had my truck broken into like 4 or 5 times in my driveway. I had my catalytic converter stolen off my truck twice, and I had video cameras up. And one time we caught the people. They were juveniles. The DA knew that I was a police officer, so she kept me in the loop. They got probation. It was nothing. They don't get any actual. There's no consequences for committing crime in Southern California. For someone like you or me, if we do something or get accused of something and we're going to be charged with a misdemeanor, we care. But a lot of people, the criminals down there, they don't care. They get a ticket for a misdemeanor, they're not going to court. They could care less. So anyways, so crime statistics were very important for me. It's not like we don't have crime up here in Idaho. We do. We have similar problems that you have all over the country. There are drugs. It's not a huge problem though. We don't have a homeless problem. And when I say homeless, I'm just referring to people who are out in the street homeless, because it's not really a homeless problem, it's a drug problem. If you listen to the media, they'll tell you, if you listen to the media and the local governments, they'll tell you it's a homeless problem. I'm telling you, it's not. You ask any police officer in any big city, it's a drug problem. Until you solve the drug problem, you cannot solve the homeless problem. There are very few, not saying there's none, there are very few homeless families, or very few out of work construction workers, truck drivers. There's very few of those, if any, that are homeless, okay? Every one of them, I've contacted thousands of homeless people in my career, and they're all drug addicted or alcohol addicted. Anyways, we don't have that stuff up here, so it's nice. But what we do have is some pretty weather, extreme weather. I was about to say nasty, but I don't think it's nasty. I love the snow. If you don't like the snow, you won't like it here. If you don't like the cold, you won't like it here. If you need sunshine, you won't like it here. I could probably count on two hands how many times I've seen the sun this winter. That's one thing that I wasn't quite prepared for. I had heard about it, I was told about it, but I didn't know until I knew. You know, I didn't know until I experienced it. The reputation of the Pacific Northwest for cloudy days is legit. It is real. If you're one of those people, and I know, I get it, I get that there are people like that they say, no, I need the sunshine. I don't want to live somewhere where I don't have the sun on a daily basis. If you're one of those people, I totally get it, especially if you grew up in California, where you have over 300 days of sunshine. Here we have, like, it's under 200, like 100 and something days of sunshine. If you're one of those people, yeah, you're not going to like it here, because you do not see the sun very often in the wintertime here. Also, what else? Also, just the fluctuation in the weather, the cold, if you don't like the cold. Again, to me, it's not bad. I'm one of those weird people. I think it was from spending those years in the inland Southern California. And it's basically desert. If you don't live on the ocean in California, you basically live in the desert. It might not look like desert, like sand dunes, but it's desert weather. I hated it. As I got older, I could not take those triple-digit temperatures anymore. So I don't mind the cold weather. Today is probably just below freezing. It's probably 30 or so, 30 to 32 right now. It doesn't bother me at all. Even when we had that 1 week earlier this winter of sub-zero down to 14, 18 below, it was cold, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't miserable. I wasn't like, oh, I hate this, I want to move out of here. It wasn't bad. So if you think you want to move somewhere, make sure you check it out, okay? I've also had people that moved to, a lot of friends that moved to Texas. Texas is a big place right now for Californians to move to. Arizona, I knew I didn't want to move to because I didn't like the heat. Texas, I had one friend that moved to Alabama. A lot of people going to Tennessee. If you're from California, you've never spent a summer in a humid climate. That's the same as spending the winter in a cold climate. You don't know until you know. My wife and I knew we didn't want to live where there's humidity again. That's one thing about New England that I did not like. If you got humidity, you're going to have bugs. And the bugs, again, in New England, are legit. I mean, it was enough of a reason to cause us not to want to move there, because it does limit what you can do in the summertime. In May, when the black flies are out in northern New England, you can't go outside. You just get eaten alive. Or you got to wear long sleeves. You got to wear one of those mesh nets over your face. Same thing. Then June, the mosquitoes come out, and it's miserable. And again, people deal with it. People live in those places, no problem. But just keep that in mind if you're going to move to Tennessee, Alabama, Texas. It's humid in the summertime, and with the humidity comes a lot of bugs. You think you're prepared for it, and then you get there and you realize, oh, this is a lot worse than I thought. So my only point is check out a place you want to move to in all 4 seasons and make sure that it's right for you. And like I said, here in Idaho, if you don't like the cold, if you don't like the snow, think twice about it, because we get a lot of it. Earlier this week, it was warm, it was sunny, it was beautiful. I was out here doing a lot of yard work with no jacket, and now all of a sudden I woke up this morning, we got 2 inches of snow on the ground, and it's supposed to keep snowing today. So just something to think about. But if you're like me, I absolutely love this weather, so this is fantastic. So I'm glad to be out here, glad to be with my animals, and I'm gonna go ahead and start my morning chores and feed everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.